If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. Use of flash photography during Finance Committee meetings is prohibited. If anyone from the public wishes to access the meeting, they can do so by calling the following conference line, 1-929-205-6099. Zoom meeting ID 889-3244-2865. Password FinCom, all caps FINCOM. The Zoom chat will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute. All items within the meeting agenda are subject to deliberation and votes. And excused member Carla is away. So the first is special town meeting, Article 10, Community Preservation Act, Sagamore Cemetery. So, is there, oh, hi. What's the name?
No, that's
hello, I just wanted to say I'm recording. I don't know if the announcement was made, but I want to let you all know.
that's
Okay,
Owen
thank
Sullivan
you.
from the Enterprise. Oh.
I didn't know. Thank
Oh.
you.
She's coming from the, that's Carrie and Dr. Joe, the superintendent.
Oh, yeah, she's so small. She's so small.
You ready?
Yes, we are.
For those of you who don't know me, I'll introduce myself and to the people at home. My name is Beth Ellis. I've been a resident of Sagamore for more than 50 years and secretary of the Sagamore Cemetery Association for decades, more than I can count or want to count. As the applicant from the association, I'm seeking $22,500 from the town's CPA funds for the purpose of removing 29 menacing old rotted trees, many of them huge, which threaten to damage or crush up to 100 early, fragile, historic gravestones when, not if, but when, they fall during a severe weather event. And I think in your package with the application, you have photos of damage that they've done when they fall over a number of years. It isn't often, but every time it's a disaster. The photos, so you have that evidence. We're not just imagining what could happen, it has happened. These granite, marble, and slate markers record a significant amount of the earliest history of the town of Bourne. Scanned information carved into these markers, such as birth and death dates, inscriptions like "Lost at Sea," engravings of angels, willow trees, and other symbols, informs researchers, historians, families on genealogical quests, and others of Bourne's rich social, medical, religious, and economic status as far back as 225 years. Briefly, there are 17 members of the early Bourne family buried here, including the grandparents and parents of Jonathan Bourne, for whom our town is named. The longest and most beautiful elegy on a monument in any old cemetery on Cape Cod is embedded into the obelisk at our cemetery of Captain William Burgess and his wife Hannah Rebecca. Writers continue to produce articles and books about the stories of the lives of many buried in our cemetery. Our association wishes to preserve this unique form of historical facts about life in Sagamore and on Cape Cod way back when. Many, if not most, of the gravestones that we want to protect are located in the Bournedale section. This area holds the bodies dug up and relocated here in the early 1900s when their original location in Bournedale blocked the route for the creation of the Cape Cod Canal. Money. That is what you are concerned with about as overseers of Bourne's annual budget, and I thank you for the time and effort you spend keeping us on track and solid financially. Over the past 10 years, our association has spent a total of $10,500 removing dangerous trees periodically as our funds permitted, if they presented a threat to the continual existence of the irreplaceable data on our fragile stones. We have determined that our ambitious historic preservation undertaking can no longer be accomplished piecemeal. A more aggressive approach must be undertaken to preserve these monuments for the education of future generations. To do that, we need your help. Our licensed and insured arborist has reserved a place in his busy schedule for removal of these 29 trees, mostly in the old 4-acre section of the cemetery, as soon as funds are available. He expects to complete his work in a matter of weeks if the weather cooperates, hopefully before the fickle behavior of Mother Nature has another chance to obliterate this primary source of Bourne's history. The Sagamore Cemetery is a 501c13 organization. During the course of her career, our treasurer served as a bank officer and later for another entity as a grant writer and administrator. We also have a track record of receiving and using CPA funds responsibly. We are financially stable, but we're not affluent. As an aside, the Sagamore Cemetery provides an island of tranquility to residents and visitors and tourists for walking dogs, for passive recreation in a small village that has no park. To date, the CPA Committee, the Historical Commission, the Bourne Society for Historic Preservation, the Bourne Historical Society, and those present at the public hearing on this grant have supported unanimously our request for public help with this historic preservation project. Our 8 dedicated board members, all passionate in their roles as volunteers, caretakers, respectfully ask you to support our request for help and encourage citizens to support you and us at the special town meeting on Monday, October 20th at Bourne High School Auditorium. And I thank you for listening and hope you can see your way to support us. Thank you very much. Are there any
Thank you.
questions?
Questions or comments?
Not from me.
No? All right, thank you.
All set,
We're all
thank
set.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Barry Johnson. I want to let you know that the CPC is recommended $25,000 for this article. And the reason, even though Beth said it's a firm price, we've been through these things before. So we felt there might be some other small incidental items come up during this project. So the CPC is recognizing or recommending $25,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, next, Article 13, petition related to Katomet fish.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Ross. With my wife Jenny, we own and operate Katomet Fish in Katomet. In January of 2023, the Select Board heard 2 applications for a Section 15, or I'm sorry, a Section 17, I guess it was a Section 15 all alcohol package store license, Market Basket being the other applicants. At that point in time, the board denied the Market Basket application, and the next week approved our application. Market Basket appealed to the ABCC and made a motion that was accepted by the ABCC that no permits should be issued in the town of Bourne until all of their appeal rights were exhausted. So after about a little more than 2.5 years, their application was sent back to the select board. It was denied again. And so we're sort of unsure about what the timeline is going to be with that permit. And in the meantime, this article would request that the select board petition the general court to pass legislation that would issue a permit to us, regardless of the appeal process that is likely to be taking place for the other applicant. I don't see any significant financial impact to the town. We're not requesting any funds. So I'm not sure if there's any questions.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Through you, if I could have a point of order. Has this been run by legal counsel?
This is a petitioned article, so council has reviewed the warrant for form, but this is, the signatures were validated, so the item has to be brought before town meeting.
So has the town attorney, has your attorney told you that the town can file legislation to give a license to a particular party without having a public hearing and hearing other viable candidates?
Yes. Through a special legislation. It's a different section of the law. That's where I was tripped up earlier. I believe a quota license, which is earmarked by the ABCC for each town for every, I think it's 20,000 residents. There are a number of quota licenses for each town, but then Section 17 allows for what's called a special legislation license. And I believe that several of the licenses that exist currently in Bourne are actually special legislation licenses.
And why aren't you, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
why aren't you going through the normal process of going back to the Board of Selectmen and ask that they reissue it? Because there's an existing license, correct?
There is a license that we were approved for.
And you've been operating under it?
No, the license was never issued
Okay.
because at the time, a request was made by the other applicant and it was accepted by the ABCC that since there was one license to give and their application actually was filed before our application, that they be permitted to exhaust all their appeal rights before any permit is issued to us. It's tough to speculate on what's going to happen next, but there's the potential that it could be another 3 years plus before the appeal rights are resolved for the other applicant.
So why do you, again, Mr. Chair, through you,
Go for it.
why do you feel the need to request the town to give you a special license dedicated specifically to you through legislation? I mean, I've dealt with this for many years. I've never seen anybody ever do this before. So that's why I have an interest in it. I don't care about the parties at all.
I think it's a little bit of a unique case because we have been before the board and we have been approved. It's really, the primary motivation is timing. Like, if it's already been almost 3 years since that initial approval, and the way that the appeal structure works is, I probably shouldn't speak for, speculate on what the other applicant is going to do, but I guess what I would say is there's a potential that it could be another 3 years. It could be longer than that before.
But the
all
town's
the-
already issued it to you.
The permit hasn't.
You just
been
can't use
issued.
it yet.
It's just been approved. It's sitting at the ABCC waiting for the
Right.
appeal rights to be exhausted.
So when that appeal is over, you technically have the license pending.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? So I think it would be a good idea, in general, I don't know about the legality of this, but to have, a small store in town selling some alcohol, not as their principal thing, sort of like West Falmouth Market, Jack and the Beanstalk, it's convenient for people. I don't think it has an adverse impact on anyone. But, any more questions, comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Article 4, FY '26 Capital Budget, Part 2, starting with the school department, middle school wastewater treatment plant.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Before we get started, I do, just kind of for orientation, the remaining articles tonight, Article 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, all meet the definition of capital. Some of them are put together in Article 4, which is the omnibus, and then the building articles and the CPA-funded article are standalone articles. So these are all considered capital.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan Geis, Bourne Public Schools, Director of Business Services. This was for the wastewater treatment plant, the one you wanted to hear, correct?
Yes, that was first.
So this request is for $475,000 to repair the rotating biological contactors, otherwise known as RBCs, which are one of the main components in the wastewater treatment plant, as well as adding covers over those two RBCs and replacing the effluent recycle box. This came about as we struggled to find a real clear path forward that was more affordable for the town. The previous request was for $2.1 million, which was already granted. It was debt that the town has not yet entertained or gone out to bond for. So if this passed, we would rescind that original $2.1 million request. This came about through a consultant who did a study trying to find a better path forward for the town, given the wastewater treatment plant and what it needs to do for Bourne Public Schools.
Any comments, questions? So can the wastewater treatment for different buildings in that campus be consolidated, or?
So there's only one wastewater treatment plant on the campus,
Oh, so
and
they already
it
are.
treats all the wastewater that comes out of the three buildings.
Okay, thanks. Amanda?
Could you just refresh my memory on what the $2 million request was for?
So that was to actually completely replace the RBCs. I mean, you haven't been in the wastewater treatment plant, or you've never seen one, there's a lot of steel, very big wheels that rotate through wastewater. And that's where the biological organisms live and thrive and eat all the good food that's in there for them. So the first go around, because the material where those organisms thrive are attached to the wheel, we were going to replace the entire setup, which is, the steel shaft is probably 20 inches round, solid, and it's 12 to 15 feet long. We'd have to open up a new door to get those in and out, like open up a wall. A lot of work just goes in doing that. So we were interested in seeing if there was another option in just replacing that media instead of replacing the entire components, because the steel is still solid steel. So this consultant recommends this approach, says we'll get another 25 years out of those RBCs before they would have to be completely replaced. Just
And what
seems-
would, sorry to cut you off, what would the $2 million option, would that extend the life about 25 years as well, or would that give it a longer life?
The 2.1 million, I mean, if you look at this consultant's idea, might have gotten you 50 years, but who knows in 50 years?
Okay, thank you.
Jim,
Tom?
I'm confused on why it was gonna be $2.1 million and now only $475. And I understand the difference
No,
between.
valid point. So the $2.1 million was the cost to get the project completed by Train when we were considering doing the performance contract with Train. So that would have covered the design oversight and getting it done. That was the price that they came up with. We were early on into the Train project at that time. We were considering going that route. We requested the money, and then ultimately, we didn't go with Train to get that work done.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So next is DNR, replace vehicle Y52.
Good evening, Hannah Lawrence, Bourne Natural Resources. The Department of Natural Resources is looking for $80,000 to replace the Y52 animal control vehicle. We are looking to purchase a new Explorer to replace the existing pickup with a box on the back of the pickup. The current vehicle really isn't conducive for picking up anything larger than small wildlife or small dogs. It's really a challenge to get anything larger into those compartments to effectively, do the role of the animal control officer. So we would look to keep the same amount of vehicles and either trade in or offer up as a replacement vehicle for another town vehicle, the current Ford Explorer that we have in our fleet.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions, comments? Amanda?
But yeah, so who's gonna decide whether we trade it in or repurpose it?
So ultimately, I will make that decision. I will tell you that typically we don't do vehicles on the fall town meeting warrant. And typically I would ask that this wait until the annual warrant.
Mm-hmm.
However, this particular Explorer that we're talking about is a repurposed police department vehicle, and it was pretty much unusable all of June and July. So I really don't plan on, it's not reliable enough to keep. So I do plan on trading it in.
Okay.
And because we thought, obviously we took it from PD with the expectation, or at least the intention, that it would be more reliable, but I don't plan on sticking it to another department to struggle with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any more comments, questions? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, engineering, community building, soil cleanup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm on line.
Hi.
Tim Lyden of the Bourne Engineering Department. Excuse me. The application before you is here before you after about 4 years of monitoring the community building's soil gas cleanup and monitoring efforts. We are under the authority of the DEP for groundwater standards over at this site. The funding we're looking to request is for monitoring and maybe some remediation of the groundwater over the next 2 to 3 years. we've been working on this pretty closely since 2021. I've been working with PairCorp. And the monitoring is coming along, but we have one particular monitoring well that is spiking, that exceeds the thresholds of the groundwater standards. So we're going to be monitoring that, hopefully maybe trying to come up with a better solution to try to close this site out. But we're pretty close, we're just not there yet. So this is a request for funding to continue monitoring.
Thank you. And what's the amount?
$95,000.
And how long of a period of monitoring would that cover?
I'm hoping that it covers 3 years.
If we need to do it for that long. If we're not able to close the site out before that.
Thank you. Any comments or questions about this soil cleanup? Looks like none. All right, thank you, Mr. Lyden.
Thank you.
Next, fire department, ambulance replacement.
Good evening, everyone. Dave Palazzi, Fire Chief. Thanks for having me. First capital item we have, as you mentioned, is ambulance replacement. This came about because we brought up an ambulance for replacement last fiscal year, and in the process of ordering it, we found out that it's going to be 2028 before I see that ambulance. So they're now looking 3 years out for building trucks. So trying to get us back on a 5 to 6 year schedule still isn't going to happen, but this will help us now by putting another request in for another ambulance to replace a 2019 ambulance
Do you have to pay when you order it or when it's delivered? Or
when it's delivered.
But you need a signed contract.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you need the funding in place before you can place the order.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm looking at her. Oh, yeah.
Is that price locked in even if there's inflation over the next 3 years or however long?
Yes, it's, so, yes, it would be.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once the contract's signed.
All right, any questions, comments?
Yes, how much is in a new ambulance?
We put in for 475 based on the current, from the last one that we did. We are hoping to trade in one of our older ambulances, which took some of that off. What they call the auto load, the mechanism that puts the stretcher in, it's required. We're hoping we can take that out of one of our existing, which should decrease it about, I think, $50,000. Right now, those are getting to the end of their life as far as the manufacturer recommends, but we believe that there's still a lot of life left in it, and we think we have a company that'll help maintain it. If that's the case, that'll give us some savings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments?
And this funding comes out of the ambulance fund, correct?
Correct.
So it's not out of free cash or anything?
And as an aside to the vehicle stuff, both the International Association of Firefighters, the National Union, and the International Association of Fire Chiefs 2 weeks ago were testifying before Congress about how since 2020, costs have doubled for apparatus and build times are 3 to 4 years, have almost quadrupled. So everyone is facing this, and it's not making it easy to catch up. But
Any more comments or questions? No? All right, thank you. Next, exhaust retrofit stations 1 and 3.
yes, so this was a new thing for us that was not really on our radar. In the process of designing the new fire station, we looked at different kinds of mechanisms to address the diesel exhaust in our apparatus. And one of the things we're kind of settling on is, instead of a hose-based system that we have now in our existing stations, we want to go with a filtration system that has filters and exhausts through and cleans the air out. There are a lot of benefits to that would help us. And in the process of, we found out that for $144,000, we could renovate the station 1 and 3, our Buzzards Bay and Sagamore stations, to get rid of those old systems that will have the same system in each of the stations and will be seamless that way. That's why this was not on our radar before that.
Chief, for clarification, 114,000 or?
Did I say 114, 144, I think it was, right?
I'll double check.
114.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, 114,000. That's what happens when I try to go from memory.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the exhaust retrofit? All right, thank you. Next, forestry vehicle.
So this one is grant dependent. I was before you last year, I think about a year ago for this, not for this, but for other grant stuff. We've 2 grants through FEMA in the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program that are still under review. We had someone in the review process reached out to let us know we had at least one that was favorable. It's not a guarantee that we're gonna get the grant, but they required some more information. We don't know which one it is. But the first one of our 2 grants is to replace a forestry vehicle. In 2021, we were given a new to us 1993 military Humvee that was retrofitted to be a brush vehicle. No cost to us for the vehicle, the skid unit with the pump and the tank, but it's a 1993 and it functions like a 1993 Humvee. It's not designed for firefighting. There's been some maintenance issues with it where it's been out of service. We've had to put a lot more money into it than we anticipated. So we put that on schedule to replace, and if we're successful with this grant, we'd need $35,000 to cover the town's share of the grant for that. If the grant's not successful, we won't be moving forward with that article, but it will still be on the schedule for replacement in the future year.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? So do you know by when you would find out about that grant?
They usually start issuing in September. The way I understand it is that the Director of Homeland Security has to personally sign off on any grant request of over $100,000, so there's a stack on her desk about this tall right now. So I was checking it this morning to see if there's been any awards, and there's been nothing.
All right, thank you.
Just a quick, and what type of vehicle are you getting?
Sorry, it's a Ford F-150. Similar concept. It'll be a pickup truck with a skid unit, a tank, and a pump, but it's much more reliable, newer, multifunction.
Thank you. Okay, next, SCBA and RIT.
Yep, so this is a whole bunch of equipment, and then, as I said, this is another grant. And the SCBA, that's our breathing apparatus that we wear on almost all of our calls, other than medicals. And this stuff was purchased almost 15 years ago on a grant, similar grant through AFG. What happens is in September of 2027, the bottles, the compressed air that we breathe, will no longer be serviceable. They have to be replaced. That's Department of Transportation standard, and they're gone. We've looked at a couple different ways. We talked about buying new bottles throughout the years and kind of staggering it and trying to keep it. But then in reviewing our equipment, the breathing packs that the bottles go in are now almost 15 years old. 2 life cycles through the National Fire Protection Association standards, and they're becoming obsolete too. They still work, they're safe. I wouldn't keep them in service if they weren't, but there's newer technologies, and rather than having 15-year-old packs with brand new bottles, we put in for the grant funding to replace all of that. The RIT packs, the RIT, those are the bags that we carry when we go to a fire. We have one team of firefighters just assigned to rescue firefighters that get stuck, in trouble, caught. And they bring a bag with them that's an additional breathing apparatus that we can put out with a hose and connect to them so that if they run out of air, we have supplemental air to help them breathe. These packs we have on 4 of our frontline engines and the ladder truck. This would give us an additional one to have all the engines with them and the ladder truck. And it, again, bringing newer equipment in. And as I said, this was a grant request for, I think it was $750,000. The $300,000 would be the town's share of that part of the grant, and then a bunch of the other materials that aren't eligible for grant funding. The compressor that we use in Buzzards Bay to fill the bottles needs to be upgraded, can't be upgraded because it was 2012 vintage, so we'd have to replace that. The one that we have in Sagamore can be upgraded, so. And unfortunately, those types of things aren't allowed to be requested under the grant. If I requested them, it would have been shot down.
Thank you. Any questions, comments about that? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next, remove and replace the roof at the police station.
I'll be speaking to that.
Thanks.
So, as you know, we did take this to town meeting in May, and although it received a majority vote, it did not receive the supermajority 2/3 vote required for borrowing. So, it is the same project and the same amount of money that we're asking for, $2.5 million borrowing again. We talked at length at the capital outlay meeting right before this meeting, and I'm happy to go into the details of the project again, but the new information is that now the lawsuit has been filed. So suit has been brought against the general contractor and the architect that is in the early stages of discovery. It's a process. I don't know how long it's gonna take. It's gonna be years. And obviously our goal here is to make sure that the town recoups all the money that you've spent and you're made whole financially. Now, it is possible to wait to replace the roof until the lawsuit is settled and the payment is determined through the settlement process. However, we're not recommending that. What I'm asking is to move forward and ask town meeting to front the money with the hopes that we recover it in the litigation. And as we talked at capital outlay, I think for this town meeting, my ask to you as the finance committee, I'm sorry, I didn't even know this worked. My ask to you as the finance committee and my ask to the capital outlay is if you agree that we should do this project before the litigation is settled, to take a strong stand and advocate to the town meeting body. I am available, the chief is available, we are available as resources to answer specific questions, to answer factual questions. Our role isn't necessarily to tell people how to vote. You make the recommendations, you advise the town meeting body. So if you do end up supporting this article again, what I would ask is that we work closely together to have the finance committee essentially lay out the reasons why it's important to do it now. So to recap the project, the roof assembly was constructed in roughly April through July of 2019. The shingles were put on in June and July of 2019. The department took ownership and moved in 2020. And in February of 2024, we happened to have people there at the station on a cold, frosty morning, and we saw the roof was buckling, that we were able to see that the underlayment material was projecting through the shingles. Now, because we happened to get lucky enough to notice that within 6 years of taking ownership of the building, we were able to file this claim within the statute of repose. So if it was just completely by accident that we even noticed the problem. So if we didn't notice the problem until after 6 years had passed, we would not have the legal recourse. So if clearly, this is the reality, we have to address it. So we were lucky that we found it earlier rather than later. We hired Gale Engineering, an envelope specialist engineering firm, to do a very detailed assessment of the roof. We did a series of site visits and a series of test cuts where we cut open the roof and took out samples and did an analysis of what was actually what were the materials actually used? Did they meet the specs and the plans? And how was it constructed? And did the methods of construction meet the plans? And we found numerous, I have a whole list. We found numerous construction defects. And we also found, Gail also found that the design is flawed and that the design does not provide adequate ventilation for the majority of the roof areas. Now, this roof system is designed so that the attic is not intended to be vented. The attic is intended to be conditioned just like the rest of the building. So asphalt roofs have to be, well, let me put it this way. It is strongly recommended in our climate that asphalt roofs be vented. And our design called for a vented roof. And because it's not vented through the attic space, all the venting occurs above the plywood sheeting and underneath the insulated panels. So if you have a rafter, you have the sheathing, then you have insulated panels, and you have a whole series of vapor and water barriers. Many of those materials were not correct, and the airflow underneath the panels is not adequate. So we did, Gail did a conceptual design. We do not have a design yet. So part of this money is that we have to go through the whole design process to decide what to do next. But Gail did do a conceptual design of both another asphalt roof with mechanical ventilation, where we would mechanically draw enough air through. And they also did a conceptual design for an unvented option of a metal standing seam roof, which does not need to have the airflow. So part of what, if this is successful, a building committee would need to be established, and these design decisions would have to be discussed, and the committee would have to vote on which track to take. Once we know the type of replacement system that's desired, then that system would be designed, bid, and constructed. Now, there are a lot of unknowns still. We do not have a design, and this is not necessarily a normal situation. So it's not typical that you would take off your entire roof system above a finished and occupied building. You typically, the shingles are stripped off and it's reshingled, but we would be taking pretty much the roof down to the rafters. We don't know exactly how to do that yet, and we don't know exactly what the impacts could be as far as operations go. We don't know if we could stay in the building during that or not. Those are all questions that would have to be worked out through the design process with a building committee. So I'm happy to go into more technical detail or answer questions, but it is essentially the same project that we asked for last winter.
So is the downside of waiting, or one of them, that the building will continue to deteriorate?
So we do have some limited areas where we have active leaks. And they are around the stack penetrations, the flashing for the stacks, and the antenna penetrations are not flashed and sealed adequately. So we do know where we have active leaks, and we're able to mitigate the damage to the best of our ability. So the widespread roof area is not leaking. The issue with the widespread roof area is that we're not able to properly exhaust the moisture from inside the building. So it's causing a significant problem with the HVAC system, because when the building envelope is not correct, the HVAC system is trying to overcompensate for all that moisture that should be, the building should be releasing that moisture, and in this case, it's not. That internal humidity is becoming trapped and overloading the dehumidification system. So once we fix the roof, then we can do a better job analyzing, do we have an HVAC problem or not? Right now, we have an HVAC problem. There's no question. But we might not have as much of an HVAC system problem once the building is releasing the internal humidity correctly.
All right, thank you. Any comments, questions?
Priscilla, I have my hand raised.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Priscilla.
Yep, so I am glad this is getting taken care of, and I do agree with the town administrator that we really have to kind of double down and figure out our stance on this, because a lot of our job is to, of course, be watchdogs for the citizens, and we also have kind of a PR role here to advocate for the town's best interest. A lot of that is, being in front of the public like we are now, being recorded. So one thing I did want to say was, I think you're going about it the right way. You're analyzing how you should go forward. One thing I would like to hear be addressed is, how are we going to prevent this from happening again? Because, it's not, we shouldn't be asking the citizens of Bourne to pay for things twice, number one. Number two, I did listen to Anne Marie's description of the process that we go through for construction projects, in the decision to choose designers all the way through the public process. The process, it sounds very sound, but in this case, something did not work right. And I think that we need to talk about and sharpen up our process a little bit. We have to own up to what didn't go right, whether it's oversight, whether it is, I don't know where the process failed in this case, but I do think we have to address this. I cannot vote for this until, I feel satisfied that we're looking into that. And, that's my stance. Over. Sorry, Air Force.
Thank you. So Priscilla, do you mean you couldn't vote for this until you're assured that this won't happen again to this roof for this building, or?
No, I mean that, our process, that we take a good hard look at where did the process go wrong here? Was it that, someone in the oversight was not done properly, the wrong person was chosen to be I don't know if you had a clerk of the works or you had just the GC reporting to the town administrator. I understand it happened before the current administration, but I really think we have to figure out what went wrong and really not let it happen in other construction projects, and even this one that we're proposing. Just one thing came to my attention was you're talking about putting in a metal roof and you're talking about HVAC. Well, maybe current HVAC system is not compatible with a metal roof. I don't know if you've looked at that, but, you know, I mean, we want to be sure we're not paying for things twice, because this is quite a lot of money.
Yes, thank you. Marlene, I know you weren't here before, but do you have any words of reassurance about how, going forward, this is less likely to happen, or something similar?
You have 2 active building committees ongoing right now. I will defer to the member, and the finance committee puts members on the building committee for a reason. So I will defer to the finance committee members on the current building committee.
Thank you.
I will tell you that we have great architects and a great project manager who keeps us well-informed, answers all the questions. They're well aware of what happened in the past. I think the oversight is much better today than it was on this particular project, and I'm very comfortable with moving forward with it at this time. And I respect Priscilla's concern. My concern is, why are we postponing such an important project when these issues can be dealt with, during that time? I think it's a critical issue to fix the problem at the police department. They run 24/7, 365. Let's get this job done.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments?
Jim?
Yeah, Tom?
During the design process, which we're going through right now with the ice swim building, and the town has to and does hire an owner's project manager. That guy's duty right now during design, which we will be in with design for a new roof on the building, that guy's responsibility, correct me if I'm wrong, is to make sure that everything is done properly. We just had a problem with ice swim, and the committee didn't like the way the OPM was working, performing. He's gone, so we're getting a new one. So the point is, the town does attempt to control things as well as we can, and to keep things done properly as much as we can.
Thank you.
That just reminds me that we did fire our original OPM on the fire station committee back 3 years ago or so.
Thanks. All right, any more comments, questions on the police roof? All right, thanks. Next is middle school roof design funding.
Hello again, Jordan Geis, Bourne Public Schools, Director of Business Services. This request is for $500,000 for the design of the middle school roof, contingent upon the MSBA, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, inviting us into the program in their next upcoming board meeting at the end of October. Answer any questions you have, because I know you have them.
Amanda?
So the 500,000 is our portion after the MSBA, or that's?
No, so the MSBA will, if we're accepted into the program,
Yep.
will reimburse a certain percentage of all of our costs
Okay.
that are reimbursable.
Yep, thank you.
The last project we did was the intermediate school. Our reimbursement rate was, I want to say, around 46%. I think it'll be a tad higher this time around, but that's just me speculating.
Okay, thank you.
Will that reimbursement be just for this phase or the entire project?
The entire project.
Okay, great.
If we're accepted in and the town moves this project forward, then we get the OPM, we get the designer, and then we'd be getting the full project funding to you in a future request.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the middle school roof? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Article 7, ice swim office and maintenance building construction funding.
Good evening. Asa Mintz, Ice Swim Operations Manager and Chair of the Ice Swim Building Committee. If I could just speak to that previous question about the the building committees and what we're doing. I think the Icewind Building Committee has been, having an architect on the committee has been a huge help to us, has been really insightful. We're built up of I'm a civil engineer, as an architect, as a lawyer, someone with a construction supervisor's license. We assembled a really good team. Tom has a good civil background as well, so it's that is one way to prevent a lot of this from happening. So just to put that out there. But so we've got two items we're requesting. First is our office and maintenance garage. This will replace our current office trailers that we've been leasing for decades now, as well as our garage that's was built in the 60s or so. This was originally requested the end of last year in hopes of having the construction funding lined up for this past Maytown meeting. However, the building committee didn't feel comfortable putting it out there. We weren't far enough along in design, so we withdrew it so we could develop the plans a little more and get a better idea of cost. So we've done that. We're fast forward 6 or 8 months. We're through design development. We've got an estimate from our architect, and we're working on an independent cost estimate as we speak, and we should have that hopefully in a couple weeks. So what we're requesting is $23.9 million through borrowing. That number was arrived at by taking the $25.8 million, which our architect put together in his estimate, and then backing out the $1.9 million that we've already requested last year for architectural and engineering services. So that leaves us with 23.9. We're hoping it comes in significantly less than that, but we'll see. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you. And the Icewind Transfer Station, OPM and design funding?
So this is sort of the next phase, so to speak, in developing our 12-acre parcel. We're going to be building, or proposing to build, a transfer station that is going to last beyond the life of the landfill. Currently, we've got a construction and demolition debris transfer station. We've got a single-stream transfer station. And ultimately, we're going to need a transfer station to handle the municipal solid waste from the town after the landfill closes. So our current transfer stations are in the way of our Phase 7 and Phase 8 landfill expansions. So we're going to relocate one transfer station onto the 12-acre parcel. The transfer station will be roughly 28,000 square feet. The cumulative total square footage of our two transfer stations now is about 20,000 square feet. So we're going to upsize it a little bit. But we had, Weston and Sampson put together a feasibility study in 2024. We reached back out to them about a month ago, asked them to update that estimate and provide us a breakdown of the soft costs associated with the A&E soft costs and the OPM costs. That was provided in the capital request package. And what we're requesting is $1.134 million to be funded through retained earnings. And that will get us the architectural engineering, the OPM costs, all the way up to bidding, with hopes of having a design in hand, and then in May, requesting the construction funding for that building. And both of these buildings are kind of coming together now in terms of timelines. The office and maintenance garage got pushed out a little bit, so there may be some efficiencies that we can find in possibly bidding those projects together. As Tom mentioned, we're in the search for a new OPM, and that's going to be the first question we have for him day one is, how does the timing of all this work out, and how can we put all this together? So, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Article 9, CPA, Monument Beach Marina Design Funding.
Good evening, Hannah Lawrence, Bourne Natural Resources. The Department of Natural Resources and Shore and Harbor Committee are requesting $710,000 through the CPA for the Monument Beach Marina design funding. So this would be for engineering to look at the design of redoing the Monument Beach Marina. So that's the docks, the existing pier, as well as the old snack bar that's currently at the marina, which would be included in the redesign project.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments, questions?
If through you,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, if Mr. Libben could give us an overview of the expenses, future outlook, how we compare to others.
Thank you very much. Richard Libben, Chairman of Shore and Harbor Committee. The reason that we're asking for this money is that the condition of this facility is at its end. It was probably at its end many years ago, but it doesn't have much more life left into it. We found an engineer that did an original engineering on the marina back in 2000, and his comment to us when we got a hold of him was, "Oh, that's still standing." So back 25 years ago, there were pilings that are not even in the substrate. The facility is not had any maintenance per se that is worth the structure, to help the structure, other than the normal pilings that fall down during the wintertime. Back in 2006, we had the no-name storm that came through. We spent $500,000 to put the decking on it. That was for materials. The Sheriff's Department was kind enough to do the labor to put the marina back together, but that was just simply decking. Last year, we asked town meeting for $30,000 to put a wave attenuator below it, and after looking at it and analyzing it, we decided that putting $30,000 into the structure was just a waste of money. We turned the money back in. We never used it. So we have a facility that's a money-generating and making facility that turns into the town currently right now on an average of 5 years, $187,000 to the town general fund. The Shore and Harbor Committee has taken a look at the rates that are being charged. We had a meeting last Wednesday. We have another meeting this coming Wednesday so that we can turn our recommendations over to the Select Board and the Town Administrator to make sure that if there is a rate increase, that it will go through and get put into the billing for the marina, all the marinas for next year. Right now, the marinas themselves are probably running almost $100 less than our competition. We're not trying to be the cheapest, we're not trying to be the most expensive, but the reason that we have a waiting list is so long is that Monument Beach Marina is, I'll just give you an example, is $117 a foot compared to Kingman at $225 a foot. So, you know, there's a lot of money sitting on the table. The rates haven't been raised or reviewed in 10 years. It's now time to raise them. The committee voted to move from $117 a foot to $185 a foot. That's our initial finding so far, which would add an additional almost $80,000 to the bottom line and would bring us up to $265. We still have 36 moorings to look at, and the cost of the price to rent those moorings, and there's probably another, I don't know, $50,000 and $20,000 worth of profit there. So we're asking you to, excuse me, to support this so that we can make the facility what it should have been years ago.
Thank you. Will it be expanded or just upgraded?
We currently have a permit that the Shore and Harbor Committee got, it was probably 15 years ago. We're one of the few towns on the Cape that have a marina reconstruction permit, which allows us to expand the marina by 10%. That permit also covers from basically Chester Park all the way across to Toby Island. So anything that we do in there basically can be done with a letter instead of going through thousands and thousands of dollars worth of engineering fees. Under that permit so far, we've done the parking lot. Part of that boat ramp was done under that because we had a permit for the boat ramp, but part of that was also under the marina configuration, and we've also upgraded the septic system. So that $18,000 that was spent 15 or 20 years ago was well worth our investment. So the answer is, we don't know. When we come up with the design of what the design actually is, then we'll know whether it's bigger or smaller, for whatever it is.
Thank you. So, Priscilla?
Yeah, I guess there sounds like there's a lot of unknowns. Because my initial question was, is it going to include the parking lot? But it sounds as though, it could be a lot of things. It could expand 10%. I'm not sure whether that means, does that mean like waterfront, 10% waterfront, or would you expand buildings, say, to where the trailer storage is now? I mean, there's just so many options.
No.
Does the 10% only include
The pier,
certain functions or uses? Or how
the
does that
marina
work?
itself, the physical marina in the water.
Okay, I'm trying to picture all the possibilities. Do you have any examples of, what you would expand? I mean, the slips, what could that look like? I guess
It could look like a floating marina, like all the rest of the marinas around the Cape. We don't know exactly what the footprint is, but the 10% is only for the marina itself, not for the parking lot, not for the building, not for any other structures that are around there. It's just for the marina itself.
Do you have any restrictions, like boundaries you have to abide by? In terms of environmental or waterways?
That's all part of the engineering and permitting part of this. That's why we're asking for the money.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
So we don't know until we actually get there. Then we'll know what we've got.
Sure. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, any more comments or questions?
Can I just make one comment? I don't see Barry on the call, but this is a CPC-funded project, and they did vote unanimously to recommend it.
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. Oh, thank you. Okay, next, begin discussing recommendations and article assignments for fall town meeting. And we need to vote on them. I guess we better vote next week.
Yep, so you have the rest of the meeting today, and then you have your meeting next week. As of Article 9, you've heard all of the articles that are on the warrant, and the draft warrant and draft articles and motions are on the website, on the town meeting website page. So we will keep working on the motions to have those in place for next meeting. But if there are ones you're ready to start voting on, or if you're ready to start talking about who wants to present which articles, then.
Well, about presenting, does anyone have any preferences? And if you're not ready to let me know, you could email me. Wayne, do you want to do the police roof?
Sure.
Thank
I
you.
was gonna volunteer.
Oh, I apologize. Wayne just seemed to speak kind of authoritatively there.
No, you know what? Whoa!
Okay.
I should not do it because I'm going to speak on the roof issue for the capital outlay.
Okay. So that'll be Amanda. Does anyone else right now have a request to present any of these articles? All right, so you could let me know if you have a preference.
I'll take Monument Beach.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we'll make those assignments next week, and people can let me know if they have ones they want to do or don't want to do.
I'll do anyone. You want to
Well,
vote on tonight, or you want to vote
Yeah, I was gonna
next
say,
week?
what is the,
I suggest we wait till Monday when the motion's are ready.
all right, so Amanda suggested waiting till the motions are ready. Do you think they'd be ready in 1 week?
Yeah, we'll, so, yes, the motions will be ready for Monday. The moderators' meeting is next Wednesday, and then the books are going to print next Friday.
Okay.
So there'll be time for us to vote Monday, make our recommendations. Okay, we'll do that, because sometimes things change after we vote. I'm not suggesting anything will change, but we'll have the motions next week, right? Okay, and then, any more discussion about that? Recommendations and article assignments? Okay, any correspondence? I didn't
No,
get
I'm
any.
sorry, not this week, no.
Thank you. And the minutes from the last meeting of last fiscal year, I think you received those. Is there a motion to?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Wayne, second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Priscilla?
Yes.
Thanks. Amanda?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you. All right, future meeting date next week. Any further discussion?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Amanda.
That's the 29th, right?
Yep.
Second.
Second by Tom. Roll call vote. Priscilla?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you.